Hey everybody, welcome back to Malts and Meeples. I'm Petter, and today we're continuing that playthrough we started on Friday of Legendary Kingdoms, the Valley of Bones. Open up my Kona Big Wave here. And so I have all my notes, everything set from last time. Let's get going. Starting with 157 here. Remember correctly, last time we fought in the arena, we became the champions. The sound of the drums and crowds roaring echo in your ears as you are once again lined up in the gatehouse in preparation for your latest bout. 4 crude blades are available. One character can be armed with a shield and another with a maul, a two-handed maul. So, let's see. We're going to do maul, fighting +1. But we're better off this time here because we didn't have 4 crude blades. We had 1 last time. The thing that matters there, and I'll talk about my characters here in a second. The thing that matters, though, is the fact that now they have a weapon. That means it's not just 1 die. It is the fight die. We'll give the shield to our character Sir Jessica Dane. And so, just a recap, we have Sir Jessica Dane. We have Amelia Pastane, her half-sister, who is kind of druidic in nature, but we're given fairly explicit instructions: don't cast spells, they take out your tongue. And then we have Brash, he's kind of our bard type character, and then Akihiro of Chalice, samurai-esque character. So we've gotten everything ready there, and then we go to 170. You step out in the boiling heat, the sun scorching the sand under your bare feet. You are the first competitors into the arena, receiving a roaring cheer from the crowd as you appear. High above you, the Iron King gazes down impassively. Malronik, the Death Engine, standing unflinching by his side. So that's a golem creature. You look across the heat-swept arena as the far gate is opened. You can't help but swallow as a pair of shaggy-haired desert lions come snarling out of the gate. Their manes are stained red with the blood of other victims, and they roar at you with filthy yellow teeth. You must fight for your lives. Note, you cannot use spells under threat of mutilation. So, we have this image of the Iron King. So we have 2 lions. And the lions have 9 and 10 health respectively. So I'm actually feeling like we're in a decent spot in this fight. However, they are lions. So let's grab a handful of dice here. I think we just need 5. So we're going to go all in on the first line. Both lines' defenses are 4+. But the first line hits with more dice. So Sir Jessica comes in and immediately makes a big impression on that lion, bashing it back with her shield and hitting it with the crude blade. It snarls and leaps back into Akihiro of the Chalice, his swing with the maul, which gathers another 2 hits, over half down now, as the group kind of tries to maintain space between. Amelia is going to swing for another 2 hits. Ooh, this could go down just right here, because Brash comes in with his crude blade. Another swing. Oh. Yes, it goes down. This was the one that only had 9 hit points. The first lion has been taken out. However, now it is the lion's turn, and it's going to go after Sarjessica, who has planted herself in the way and needed 4+ to hit. Rolled a 1, 2, and 3. So far so good. Jessica is going to take that chance to come in. Needs to get 4 pluses. Got 4 of them again. Wow. She is hitting hard tonight. But we need to do slightly better to just really get through this unscathed. There is a chance, but Akihiro, with his maul, didn't follow up with as much as needed. Alright, come on, Amelia Pastane. We need, ideally, all 3 of these to hit. And we got 2 hits, so there is a chance, because that's 8 hits right now out of 10 health. As she slashes at it, Brash comes in, confident, ready for his swing, and finishes it off. That was surprisingly much, much easier than the previous fight. No damage taken. And we go to 236 here in the book. The cheers of the crowd resound across the arena as the final lion falls dead. You can't help but stifle a tear at the death of the noble beasts, cruelly plucked from the wild to fight for the entertainment of the savage crowd. Feeling more bestial than even a lion, you are taken from the arena and disarmed again. So I'll ignore weapons and stuff like that. Eager for another bowl of water to slake your aching thirst, you come upon a sight of even greater cruelty. Poor Milagros is being shouted at and struck by an angry guard, enraged at receiving a splash of soup across his armor. The poor girl is on the ground, in his shadow, nursing a bruise on her cheek as the guard pulls out his whip to punish her further. She has been with us kind of the whole time as a helper, so we're going to protect her. Doesn't look like anybody's live with me right now, but if you do join live, this is a chance to help shape some of the decisions of the party. We are a noble party. You rush the guard, pulling him to the ground and kicking his whip away. Alas, more guards are never far away, and soon the room is filled with sweating and swearing soldiers who restrain and beat you as other slaves look on. Each character loses 2 health points. Ouch. So that takes Jessica down to 4 out of her 8. Amelia to 4 out of her 6. Brash to 5 out of his 8. And Akihiro, who is full health, goes down to 6. So that's a little rough. Especially because you don't necessarily heal fully at the end of each combat. If this takes a character's health below 1, they stay at 1 health. The guards will not beat you to death this time. Eventually, you are released, bloodied, but unbowed. So then it tells us to turn to 700 here. There's a lot of flipping around in the book, but it is a fun time for sure. I'm enjoying this thus far. You bend to help the injured Milagros, who tells you not to worry. I've had much worse, but you are gracious to help, she says, wincing as she smiles. Perhaps you could walk me back to the kitchen? I fear my hands tremble too much to carry soup. Assisting Milagros, you follow her down a poorly lit tunnel towards the kitchen. You're brave warriors, and you have kind hearts, she says. It's not right that you suffer and stultify here. There's a plan to abruptly shorten our sentences. If you would be free, follow me. Milagros takes a sudden turn down a narrow tunnel that plunges into darkness. We're going for this. If you remember kind of the backstories of these characters, especially with Sir Jessica Dane and Amelia Pastane, they come from a more noble family. And so they're not going to want to just stick around. They're not going to be comfortable sticking around and just waiting here. That's not who they are as people. And now that Akihiro and Jessica have started to develop a relationship of sorts, I could see that I don't think they would continue. They'd want to stay here. We're absolutely following her. 379. It also just sounds more exciting. And I want to know what the outside world is like. You make your way down a pitch-black tunnel, relying on touching the damp walls to guide you. You emerge into a small cell through which light streams weakly from a tiny arch high in the wall. In the ceiling you can see Shenlong, your trainer, and several other gladiator slaves. Welcome, my students, bows Shenlong. He indicates Milagros. You come in good company, I see. I believe you can trust these warriors, announces Milagros. Tell them the plan, Shenlong. Do they know what they're getting themselves in for? Who they fight for? Need to clean my glasses. There's a decent reflection off this book. We are all slaves here, you assure them. We fight for our freedom. That and so much more, says Shenlong, smiling. This is no mere slave girl. Standing before you is the reincarnation of the Everchild, the Queen of the Valley, the Supreme Sorceress herself. You look down at the dirty blonde waif. She speaks well, but could she really be a queen? The Everchild is a figure of legend, a story told to squires and children. Milagros sees the doubts in your eyes and places a finger on the soup bowl. She withdraws it and paints on the walls with the thick soup, drawing strange symbols and words that begin to pulse and move as if under their own power. To your astonishment, she has drawn a spell upon the walls and filled it with arcane power. If you have a spellcaster on your team, they can learn the following spell. Soothing touch. Heal 5 HP to anyone, and then that's again 50 silver. With a wave of her hands, Milagros bathes you in healing energies. You may restore the health of all your characters to full. Nice. I mean, even if it was 5, we'd be full up. Thank you, Small Wonderkin. So then, if any of your characters have lost limbs, tongues, or other organs, they are restored. In addition, any diseases or curses you are affected with are removed. We didn't have any diseases, curses, anything like that. I'm gonna quickly erase the weaponry we had. Just so I don't forget that we don't actually have weapons right now. Otherwise, we could have taken those guards. Probably not. This young girl, slave girl, if not the Everchild, certainly a sorceress of great power. Ask her how she came to be enslaved, or ask her about the escape plan. Right now, I want to escape. Like, she is clearly awesome and powerful, but I want to get out of here, and then that's when I would be looking to ask questions. We do not like being enslaved here and having to fight lions and other slaves. Shenlong steps forward, giving his seat to the Everchild. The arena is ancient, and was once much bigger. There are vaults and tunnels that lead deep into the earth. We have, in secret, excavated one such tunnel. We cannot be sure that it leads to the surface, but we are willing to chance it. Why have you not gone already, you ask? We have no weapons, and there are creatures down there in the dark, mutters Shenlong. We were driven back on our last venture. It is too dangerous to proceed unarmed. Unfortunately, the guards keep the weapons very well secured. They are not keen on allowing gladiators, unfettered access to arms. How can we help, you ask? We need to get weapons out of the gatehouse and into our hands, says Shenlong. To do that, we need stealth and a good distraction. So, 3 options here. Volunteer to get the weapons, which we might do. It'd be a group stealth check, I'm assuming. And we have 7 on that, so that's not too bad. I could go sideways. We could back out of the plan, or we could tell the guards of the Everchild's plan. So we can't be the distraction, I guess. So that's a bummer. Not that... I mean, we might have been a better distraction. We have a couple high charisma characters. So, one second here. So, I think we are definitely on board with we want to do this mission. We want to get out of here. 191. In order to get weapons, you will need to split your party. Choose up to 3 party members to perform a distraction, and 2 party members to steal weapons. Up to 2 party members to steal weapons. You must have at least 1 party member perform each mission. Once you have decided who will do which task, turn to 169. Alright, so I'm just looking stealth-wise. I think we're going Brash and Akihiro to get the weapons. There are stealth guys. And then for our distraction, I guess we're going on Jessica and Amelia. Now, Jessica, if it's charisma-based, will be a good distraction. Amelia, less so, but that's okay. 169, it said. went the wrong way. In the book here, 169. Your distraction team must first divert the guards' attention from their posts at the gatehouse. Start a fight amongst yourselves. Attempt to seduce the guards. Pretend to be messengers and say their captain needs them urgently. Ooh, we're not going to attempt to seduce the guards. But I'm going to look and see what that is. Yeah, so Akihiro and Jessica will just refuse to comply if you do that. I'm going to fight amongst ourselves. I mean, these are two siblings, half siblings, and if people know the history, the timing is just right. You begin to shove one another in the water queue, making it convincing. You start to exchange a few hard blows, attempting to drag the other slaves in the queue into your rumble. Each party member involved must lose 1 health point. Only party members assigned to the distraction team can contribute to this check. So we need 6 dice here. 5 from Jessica, 1. And we just snuck by, but they do lose their health. So Jessica is down to 7. Oh, wow. No, I was way off on how many dice I was supposed to roll. I should have rolled 8 dice for that. Let's just grab more and see how well it would have gone. Yep. I mean, we passed, but we would have passed better. Alright, so we succeeded. That fight was convincing. So now we're to 837. I'm assuming this is going to be a stealth check. That's what I hope. Wait, hold on. What number was that? So we did 169, then 45. I want to make sure I went to the right number here. 837. The other slaves in line, bloodthirsty gladiators, throw themselves into a fight, outraged that the newcomers have dared laid hands on them. Okay, so we picked fights with other people, not with each other. The guards have to call on considerable reinforcements to quell the riots, including the guards watching the gatehouse. You have given the other team an opportunity they need. Now it's their turn. 456 here for our next page. The door to the guardhouse or gatehouse is now unguarded, and your weapon-stealing team can approach. The only obstacle is the guard or the gatehouse door, which is locked at all times. We can either steal the key from the overseer's office or attempt to force the door. We're not the strong team, so we're going to steal the key. The overseer is not present, but guards and servants walk by quite frequently. You need to be in and out as quickly as possible. Multiple people might be spotted, so only one party member can make the check. Fortunately, we have Brash, our stealthy character. Here, we got a 5, 4, 2, 2. We needed to beat a 4. We got 2 successes. 147. We are getting by the skin of our teeth. I assume that you're just not like character dies if you fail. That can happen in a fight or something like that, but I don't think just no matter what. With perfect timing, you slip into the room. Jimmy open the overseer's table drawer and grab the key. You emerge just in time, ducking into a darkened corner as a pair of guards wander by. Once they've passed, you creep back to the gatehouse door, unlocking it and entering. That takes us to 611. The gatehouse weapon stores are now yours. So I'm going to jot down all the things here. We have a hide armor. That is +1 armor. We have a shield. We know that one from the fights, +2. We have a maul. And that is fight +1. An iron short sword, so better than the crude swords. That is fight +1 as well. And we will take the 4 crude blades as well. Characters can have up to 10 items. And so by taking everything, I think it just makes sense to do that. You also granted a number of crude weapons for the Everchild and her followers before fleeing the gatehouse and closing the doors behind you. 317. Time is of the essence. You quickly regroup with your companions and make your way down the darkened tunnels to the dig site. A tiny crawl space has been painstakingly carved out of the wall, concealed by a few broken barrels. The Everchild, Shaylong, and 3 other conspirators are there, delighted to see you as you come bearing armfuls of weapons. They have not been idle, securing torches and packs stuffed with water skins and food supplies. What follows now isn't going to be easy, she warns. The tunnels are far from safe, but with your help, we might stand a chance. With a nod from the Everchild, Shaylong descends into the tunnel first, with you following tight behind. The flames from your torches lick the low roof of the hand-dug tunnel, and the space is claustrophobic in the extreme. To your delight, the tunnel eventually breaks through into an ancient chamber, half-flooded with 2 arched exits. The walls are painted in old flecks of color, displaying the ancient city dominated by a tall palace. The palace of my ancestors stood here. Still stands, the palace of my ancestors still stands, noted the Everchild, as she examines the decaying mural with you. Much of the rest of the city is a little better than mud brick hovels now. There is much work to be done. You examine the exits from the chamber. One at the back of the waterlogged chamber, which seems to descend down into yet more murky water. The dry exit looks most logical, but I wonder where the water-filled one leads. Offer for the watery one or the drier one. Now, how I play... I'm always going to be tempted to do the watery one, because... yeah, that's just... It's the more questionable one. Let's do it. 438. This feels like the type of game, though, that might lead you completely astray with it. Choose a character to explore the watery tunnel. I think survival is probably going to be fairly important. I mean, Akihiro of the Chalice is going to be the one that we have go with us. And he is going to have the shield. So he has armor. and the iron short sword. If he's allowed to. If he can't take them with him, so be it. 678. Brash also would have been interesting, but... You wade into the still, cold water, holding your torch aloft as you make your way down the slippery passage. Eventually, the water level gets too high. To proceed, you will have to dive into the water and swim down, but who knows where the pitch-black tunnel will lead. If you wish to swim, make the following check. We have a survival check that we needed 2 successes for. We have a 2, a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5. That is why I sent in Akihiro. We succeeded. You could also just not even do anything there. You could just say, no, or you're going the other way. Holding your breath, you plunge into the cold water, swimming through the black tunnel. Eventually you spy the tiniest glimpse of light and swim onward, your lungs bursting. You emerge into a small but tall chamber filled with half-submerged smashed pottery. Not poetry, pottery. That makes way more sense. Light streams through tiny cracks in the ceiling, and you hear the sounds of the city above you. The walls are unscalable, but searching the broken vases nets you 40 silver, I was just assigning who has what. 40 silver coins. Sorry, I'm trying to do everything at once here. So Sir Jessica has the maul, which means she's rolling 6 die, and the hide. Crude sword. Fight +0 for Amelia, and crude sword. Fight +0 for Brash. There's 40 silver. That is kind of held by the group. And there's a handsome brooch, which would increase charisma by 1. Akihiro is going to bring that back for Jessica. We're keeping that romance going. Giving her jewelry. Pleased with your find, you swim back to the Everchild and make your report. Satisfied the only way to go is through the dry arch, she beckons you onwards. 523. You emerge in a large chamber filled with cobwebs, which incinerate at the touch of your torches. The floor of the chamber has half collapsed, and in a small crevice you can make out the eggs of giant spiders heaped upon each other. Are we going to fight giant spiders here? Probably. You can make your way carefully through the crevice, since sloped rubble is piled up on either side of the drop. But you have to carefully navigate past the eggs. You also spy a narrow ledge around the crevice, which might allow you to avoid the crevice completely, provided you make it across without falling. Or perhaps it would be wiser to attack the spiders whilst you stand on firm ground and battle your way out. We're not going to battle our way out. That, I mean, it may still happen. Creep, sneak. Let's creep through the crevice. I don't think we have some armor now, shields and weapons. we're a little bit too bulky, I feel like, to move along that ledge. So 80. Holding your torches high, you begin to make your way into the crevice, watching your feet in the dancing firelight as they crunch near the eggs. A giant spider above you crawls along the ceiling, as if tracking your progress through her nursery. Watch where you step, you advise the Everchild's followers as you move carefully forward. This is a team survival check. Survival is done by Amelia and Akihiro, and we need 8 dice for it. So we're pretty good, but we need 5 successes on 4+. I have not been rolling great, so we might be jumping into a fight here. It was extreme in terms of the results. I have 3 1s on 8 dice. I also have 2 6s, 2 5s, and a 4. So we go to the success, 461. The spiders seem unsure about attacking such a large fire-wielding prey, especially those that are respecting the integrity of their nests. Heart in your mouth, you move around the cluster of eggs carefully, not breaking a single one, before clambering out of the crevice along a rubble-scattered ramp. Another chamber beckons on the other side. We'll continue a little bit further here. I don't know that we'll get out of the dark today. I'm assuming we're going to fight something here. Unless... you emerge into a tunnel that soon splits into 2. One route leads down slightly, and another slopes up. Ancient writing on the walls, crosses the walls, and the Everchild calls for more light as she examines it. Downward slope is an old armory, she comments. The upward one, a changing room. There's no indication which route leads out, however. So, I'm not sure on this one. Is there going to be anything worthwhile in the armory? Honestly, that might be where we get into our fight. I think I'm going to go that way, just because I'm wondering if there's a changing room for kind of some arena contests, stuff like that. So you changed, then you went down to the armory, and maybe threw the armory out. Or I could see it be the same thing, like if it was where people went out to patrol. You would get into your armor, go down to... well, yeah, who knows. Let's do the armory here. 242. After a short journey, the tunnel leads to an old door long since smashed to pieces. Beyond lie empty racks and armor stands. The chamber has been looted long ago. A tunnel continues into the darkness beyond. Only one weapon remains, clutched in the hand of a dusty skeleton. The sword is carved of dark blue metal, with spidery runes engraved across its blade. I sense some enchantment, but also a strong curse, notes the Everchild. I would advise you to leave the blade and continue. Now is the real question. Do we pick up the blade? Or do we leave the sword and continue onwards? Honestly, now looking at the characters I have here, Jessica won't pick up the blade. She's honorable. Akihiro of the Chalice, also kind of that honorable samurai-esque character. The knight and the samurai I don't think would do that. The druid isn't going to care too much about it. But we have our roguish, bardish character who's been on the run. I think Brash would pick it up. So we're going to do it. Brash is going to pick it up. Unless, in the chat, let me know if you agree or not. I'm going to open up a bubbly water. Well, I wait a second. So, nothing yet in the chat. I think kind of that reasoning I gave makes sense. This is 100% something Brash would pick up. I mean, his name is Brash, for goodness sakes. 131. Rune Sword. Oh my goodness, Brash. You are casting aside that crude blade for a rune sword. We'll read what that says, but the important thing for combat is that I think I might have let in that one. Is that is fighting +3. I'm assuming there's a curse with it too. The rune sword is a powerful weapon. However, it also has a dreadful side effect that slowly leeching away the wielder's life. That's less than ideal. You can share. If you carry this sword, the character bearing it loses 1 health point each time you turn to a new reference number. So each time you flip through stuff, it's reduced. You can share the sword among the party in order to spread out the damage if you wish. You can discard the sword at any time to end the curse, but you cannot sell it since the curse is immediately apparent to anybody who holds it. Okay. If you have your selected character lose 1 HP. Brash, like I said, I don't think the other characters would actually hold this sword. Brash is going to hold on to it for a little bit, just to carry on down the tunnel. Okay, 647. So Brash is going to lose a little bit more health because he's not letting go of this yet. Voices echo down the tunnel as you emerge onto a balcony of a large chamber. Brash goes down to 6 health. Once he hits like 2, he's going to drop it, but he's Brash. You wave the Everchild and her supporters down as you creep forwards to take a look. Peering over the balcony railings, you see dozens of rough-looking characters, armed with daggers, clubs, and other simple weapons. Around them are various chests and crates with the names of several different company brands on them. It's clear that you have stumbled upon a thieves' hideout. Their swarthy faces lit by the large central fire in the chamber. So 2 options here. Call out and approach them peacefully, or launch a surprise attack on the rogues. I'm not sure what the party would do. Brash, I would say Brash. No, I think that Brash would want to fight. He has this new sword, he wants to try it out. For better or worse, and it is for worse. Jessica probably be more fine calling out Even though these are shady people. These are not the type of people that she normally would spend time with. Same with Akihiro of the Chalice. I don't think that he wouldn't be looking to hop into a fight immediately. Kind of that code of ethics in some ways. Like, he's an expert fighter, but fighting isn't the first thing he's going to do. Whereas Amelia, and I'm buying time if you want to say fight or call out. Amelia, I feel like might lean towards fighting again, because like she's lived on a little rougher side of things in nature, kind of that survival, like a little bit mix of everything. She's not the type who is charismatic. It's interesting, the most and least charismatic characters are the ones where I'm like, I think they might want to fight. And technically, the most and least charismatic characters also want to call out. Because Jessica with the brooch has a 5, Akihiro has a 1, Brash has a 5, Amelia has a 1. So you can see my dilemma here. And not seeing any comments yet. Not that I know oftentimes you're watching it in a way that is not convenient to comment. That is how I watch stuff a lot as well. So I think that this is a surprise attack. I think, for better or worse, this is a surprise attack. We do have other people with us. So let's see what happens here. This will not be an easy battle. The Everchild and her followers will handle half the thieves, while you handle the others. So we have our thieves +5 to attack, but they're rolling 10 freaking dice. And they only have 3 defense. And then we have Brecken. This is a leader, 9 health, 4+. We're going to go all in on Brecken to start out. 6 dice for Jessica. She rushes in as always. Okay, 4 damage. I almost wrote down the number 4. That's not what I meant to do. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then Akihiro, of course, will be right behind Jessica. Another 3. Oh, I rolled one too many dice for him. So let's re-roll that. 5 dice for him. Another 2. Still, we're going to have Brash with his fancy sword now. Some ruined sword. To another 3 damage and take out Brecken before Brecken can even act. But that leaves Amelia past Dane as the only one to do anything. She's going to attack with her sword. While she knows that magic is fine here, she's really trying to conserve this. But she's not that good with her sword. So Jessica is going to step in to take this hit with 10 dice on 5+, 1 hit. I'm rolling 5 at a time. 1 hit. Wow. Garbage rolling by them. And she has an armor, but does not block the attack. So she's down to 6 health. And those thieves still have 20. Now, their defense is only 3. So it's possible, I think, to roll 6 dice and get 6 hits here. 4 hits. That's a good chunk, but not as much as we need. Brash, by the way, should be down to 5 health. 2 more hits from Akihiro. And Brash, of course, is going to swing away. Swing as hard as he might. He does better than last time. That's 4 damage, cleaving through a couple of these guys. And then Amelia is just going to do whatever she can. She's just barely ducking in and out of combat here. But now we get to roll the 10 again. 1 hit on Jessica. 3 hits. 1 defense die. We do block 1, but that means she's down to 4. Not quite enough that I would use the healing on her, but it's certainly an option. And if there's a big hit, Amelia maybe should cast armor on Jessica or on Akihiro to take the hit. Actually, Akihiro should be tanking this, but Amelia has always been the one to do that. And getting 5 hits demonstrates why she is the one who has been in the front thus far. Brash is going to go next because he wants to get this killing blow and fails. He is too overeager. He overextends himself. And then Akihiro, come on, dude. 1 hit, but that was what was needed. 5 dice, looking for a 3+, so 67% chance. 1 hit. It was a 6. So we have defeated them, but not without some damage to Jessica. 328. We've defeated the boss, seemingly, here. Not much of a boss, but the named character, just to make it a little bit harder. The aftermath of the battle is bloody indeed. A dozen thieves, as well as one of the Everchild's men, lie dead. Reasoning that you might as well take the thieves' ill-gotten gains, you open the chest of crates and examine what kind of goods they've stolen. 75 coins. That takes us to 115 silver. A reference book. That's going to Amelia. That gives you lore +1. She's not even my top lore person, but it just feels like she should be the one to take it. And an engagement ring. Akihiro is going to hold on to that, by the way. And a large amount of clothes. Thinking quickly, you strip off your slave rags and exchange it for more common garb. The Everchild and her followers doing the same. You slip out of the thieves' hideaway and into a storm drains beneath the city. After an hour's wandering, you eventually come to a ladder leading up a drain cover. You cautiously make your way upwards. So we are going to get out of here tonight. Oh, by the way, that's 2 more damage for Brash. He is down to 3. He, at this point in time, is like bugging Amelia to heal him. She has not. She understands that the sword is cursed. The Everchild told everybody the sword was cursed. But did Brash pay attention? Absolutely not. He's brash and thinks he knows best. So, here we go. The dazzling sunlight almost blinds you as you emerge into daylight. You are in a sandy, secluded alleyway. The sounds of marketplace hawkers reach your ears. You quickly help the Everchild out of the drains, hiding her behind some tall baskets as you check for guards. "We're free," she gasps. "I feared I might die in that terrible place." "What will you do now?" you ask. "You can't stay in the city." "No." "Here, we shall divide for safety," she agrees. "Shailong can look after me from here on in. I cannot thank you enough for your safe delivery of myself and my followers. I can give you no reward, and you owe me nothing, but..." You silence her as you duck behind the baskets. A guard patrol of men in gleaming bronze armor clink past, wickedly shaped halberds in their grasps. "The Bronze Guards," hisses Shailong, "the elite warriors and bootlickers of the Iron King. Their armor is supposedly enchanted, dug up from the palace vaults by the Iron King's servants. They are still men underneath," you growl. "If you hate tyranny and would seek justice restored, come find me in the Cold River Inn in Lutanish," implores the Everchild. "The path to freedom is long and difficult, but together we can find a way to end the bloody reign of the Iron King forever." The coast is clear, and Shailong quickly bows to you. "We must go before the general alarm is raised." "You have my thanks. Come, Majesty." As the Everchild covers her head with a cowl and slips into the crowd, at that, the Everchild covers her head with a cowl and slips into the crowd. Gain code A6. Your experiences in the arena have taught you much. If this is the first Legendary Kingdom book your party members have played, you may raise one skill by 1 point for each of your characters. If you explored other books first, your party members can instead increase their maximum health scores by 1. This is the first one. So, Amelia. She is going to increase her lore. She now has a lore of 4. Jessica is going to increase her survival, taking that up to a 3. Brash is going to increase his charisma, because he's going to be a really weird build. And Akihiro of the Chalice, not charisma. Survival's already 5. I think he learned fighting, and so he is going to take his fight skill up to 5. So both he and Jessica are rocking now 6 for their fight because of the weapons that they have. And Brash still has 5, though that will change very shortly. As we turn the page to 313, Brash loses another hit point and drops the sword, taking back up his crude blade and complaining loudly to Amelia that she didn't help him. She may now, though. In fact, she will. I'm going to put a check mark by Soothing Touch to know that that has been cast. He's back up to 7 health. Yeah. You stumble through the busy streets of Sultad, pushed hither and thither by the bustling crowds. By accident, you crash into a merchant carrying a box of nails and bolts, spilling his inventory across the dusty ground. Fortunately, he's a merry fellow and laughs at the incident. His name is Hammond, and once you're finished scrabbling in the dirt to retrieve his spilt goods, he insists you join him for a coffee in a local parlor to show there is no hard feelings. That's very kind of him. Much kinder than it probably should be. Drinking down the oddly bitter liquid, you ask if there is any opportunity to earn money in the valley. Why, Saltad itself is a city of boundless adventure and opportunity, exclaims Hammond. Try exploring the many streets and alleys of the city. There are plenty of people who need help these days. I've heard that the master of the salt mines in the northeast is looking for muscular sorts to help him with a few problems, so you might consider heading east if you'd like to avoid the city. If you're a real adventurer, I've heard tell that some crazy foreigners have set up an expeditionary guild in the city of Lasbrath. Apparently, they are searching the jungle for something, although what could be found in that green hell, I can't imagine. It's getting late. You thank Hammond for his courtesy and head into the center of the city. $75. Saltdad is a city of tumbled-down mud brick houses clustered into claustrophobic alleyways. And this, I think, is going to be where I wrap up for tonight, because I want to talk through the different options here and then have that decision kind of be the thing that kicks off next Monday's stream. Above these ragtag structures stand a half-collapsed palace, a minareted masterpiece that has seen better days. Amidst the squalor, there is still wealth to be found, for Saltdad produces the major export of the valley, rock salt, chiseled out of the winding mines to the east of the city. The Great West Road runs through the heart of the city, once a paved highway, but now a poorly maintained tumble of stones, which, nonetheless, allows wagons and carts to drag themselves above the desert sands. Where the road cuts through the city stands the marketplace. Inns, slave markets, and other services the city is famed for. A constant chatter of voices is heard at all times, for Saltdad never closes its places of business, even in the dead of night. So I'm going to jot down 75, but please do comment either in the live chat as we wrap up here, or in the comment section, what should be that next piece of adventure that I'm going to be going on. So we could find an inn. Finding an inn has some advantages. That would probably allow Amelia to recharge her spell. We could use 50 silver pieces to do that. It would probably allow characters Jessica and Brash to regain health. We could go to the marketplace, potentially find some interesting goods there. We could go to the slave market. I feel like if we went to the slave market, it would be to cause trouble. Jessica, Amelia, Akihiro, for sure, are very opposed to it. And having been a slave recently himself, Brash probably is not that big a fan. But maybe you could pick up like some interesting help if you're willing to overlook kind of the shady fact that you're buying people. But you might be looking to do that and then release them into kind of your care and treat them more as equals. It'd be interesting to know, could you add a party member that way? We could visit the palace. That seems like a really bad plan. We don't want to get captured again. We could head to the barracks of the Bronze Guard. I am very curious about their armor. As I think it was Jessica or somebody said that, I mean, they're just human underneath. Could we take them out or take out several of them and get some really sweet armor? Possibly. We could track down the local thieves guild. I feel like we did that and we killed them. We could see about that. We could visit the Temple of Cursus. Curcus. I mean, temples are always interesting. There's potentially artifacts, relics, stuff like that. Or there's potential to get maybe a temporary boon or blessing. Or even for Amelia to learn a new spell there. We can visit the Temple of Kalu. Don't know who Kalu is compared to Cursus, but that's where you potentially could have some interesting options, like just to try some stuff. Same thing with either temple. I just don't know what the difference is between either of them, which is a good thing. We could explore the city. That kind of seems like what we're doing. We could head west along the road. West, I believe that's where the Lost Breath is. And so that would be where we want to go when we want to meet up. We could head east along the road. Now that's where the salt mines are. If we want to get money, that's my guess is where we want to go. And then finally, we could head south into the desert. I don't know what's going to be there in the desert, but that's where it gets kind of interesting. A ton of options. I mean, that is... I'll run through them quickly again. We could find an inn, go to the marketplace, go to the slave market, visit the palace, head to the barracks of the Bronze Guard, track down the local thieves guild, visit the Temple of Cursus, visit the Temple of Kalu, explore the city, head west, head east, and head south. So 12 different options. We have 20 people watching right now. Chance more people will watch in the upcoming week. So, 21 people. First off, thank you everybody for checking out the video. Hopefully you're having fun with this. Hopefully you're not all robots. I personally am a robot, but I hide it really well. But drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you want to kick off next session with, because there's some really cool options. If I were to pick, and it's not my choice, I want comments, so it isn't my choice. But if I were to pick to sway anything, I would say I want to go to one of the temples just to see what they are. That's a chance. Temples feel like lore to me, and I understand some of this world. I'd love to know more. But with that, thank you so much for joining. Hopefully you had fun with this. I had a wonderful blast with this. Some fun combats. I loved sneaking around and trying to, just the different types of things we had to do. We had fighting checks, we had survival checks, we had combats, we had stealth, a little bit of everything, which made for a really fun time and an interesting story that is starting to develop here now that we've kind of gotten through what I would call this Act 1 of the slaves and the arena. So, next week I'll be excited to see what we're going to do. If you want to check out the other content here on the channel, starting this Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central, I'm going to be doing my top 100 games of all time 2025 edition. Do that every year. Always fun time. Starting with games 100 through 91. And then on Friday nights, my wife and I are playing through Baldur's Gate 3. So a couple really story-heavy games that we're doing both here and with the BG3 stream. Best way, though, to know when go live, and there will be new videos coming out. I opened up another 6 packs of Bloomburrow, so see what gets opened in those. That video will be going up tomorrow, but just subscribing and clicking that notification bell is going to let you to know when new videos go live and, well, when I go live and when new videos come out. You can also check out the podcast that I do around Marvel movies, TV shows, comics, stuff like that. 10 Minute Marvel, you can find that here on YouTube by searching for 10 Minute Marvel. And of course you can check out the articles on board games and stuff like that. I'm going to do an article with the first 2 parts of Legendary Kingdoms and just talk about the system coming up tomorrow over on nerdologists.com. You can find a link for that down in the comments section below. But with that, bottoms up.